Multi-exclusive Dimensional Being Kai with another exclusive. Today's video is going to be about how to use your magic wand. Feel me? Because look, what is magic? Feel me? Magic is you. You are magic. You was created through magic. Feel me? You came into existence through magic. Feel me? We speak things into existence when we utilize our words. And our words is very powerful. And depending on what we are saying we saying these things for us? Or are we saying these things from other people? Now these shits is powerful. Of course, we only use these shits for like structures, purposes, statuses, or when we basically fighting, or when we basically doing things and certain shit, or when we play around with the pussy, you know what I'm saying? Or when females want to jerk you off, feel me? But you know, these hands is very powerful. And these hands hold a whole lot, feel me? And you can do a whole lot of shit with your hands, feel me? Of course, even when we was young, we used to do this shit. Gun sigils. But these shits is really true, and they very for surely very truly hold a true meaning behind them too, especially when you utilize this shit too. Because of course, it's one thing, you may not have a gun in your hand, but when you keep doing this shit every day and practicing it every day, the person you putting this shit at, and the mind, the attentions, the way you just push that shit through, depend on, it's like if you get at least 10, 5, 6, 7 people, and you're basically utilizing this and just pushing it towards them, and you have no gun in your hand, in some way, shape, and form, possibility that person can get clipped. And this is very true though. This is very true, because you know, this shit go deep. And for the disclaimers, let's get the disclaimers out of here, feel me? Because I hate dealing with people that talk about some bullshit saying, oh, what you're doing is very demonic. What you're doing, listen, motherfucker, we in hell. We in the lowest form of hell, feel me? The whole purpose, everything that you learn down here is hell. But you can create a heaven down here when you in hell. Understand and understand. Heaven and hell is the same motherfucking place. You can't have one without the other. So I don't care if you're talking about this heaven, this paradigm shit that you're talking about, where you really want to actually exalt and go up there and experience. But at the end of the day, when you get up there, you're still going to be experiencing a whole lot of shit. Why? Because you believe in that shit. So when you believe into something, you receive it. Point blank, period. I don't care how you look at it. Feel me? Because if you're paying attention to something, you're going to experience all the parasites, all the dirt, all that shit, all the archives. You're going to basically be inserting it inside of you. Feel me? All the residue, you're going to be basically picking it up from somebody else. That's like saying this. You talk about a story and everybody paying attention to it. Of course, it's going to be pushed out all throughout the purpose, all throughout the courses. And of course, people going to do research on it. People going to talk about it, feel me? Either way you look at it, feel me? This shit can be a Bible too. Look at it like this. Even in the movies and shit. When you see vampires, what did they use? They used fucking Bibles and shit. And what they did, they tarnished the vampire with it, or they use it as a weapon. So it's the same shit, whether you look at it like this or not. Whether you listen, it's the term of good and bad. You have the possibility to use good energy or bad energy. Feel me? But you can be basically using it for whatever you want to use it for. We have many purposes of using things, so it's not just you doing it at one perspective and doing it through the other's perspective. It really don't have no perspective, feel me? The overall God and universe don't give two shits about what you do. It's how you do it, feel me? And if you're utilizing the energies and you're utilizing it for whatever you want to utilize it for, and you acting out in the natures, then go ahead. I'm going to work with you. But if you in that naive bullshit, because remember, God, the overall, he's all over the place, feel me? That means he touches up every component, every source, every all-seeing eye, feel me? So, of course, he's everywhere, basically. He's like abracadabra in this motherfucker. So, basically, you can't really sit here and talk about some, I can't do this, I can't do this. I mean, if you couldn't do it, you wouldn't be here on this planet. Remember that shit, feel me? The power, the energy is here for you. But you would let somebody outside of you tell you a whole different thing, feel me? That goes back to people that talk about the shit where they say you're supposed to respect the land of the Lord. They saying respect the land of the government. The government is basically, they created the Bible, and they basically created laws and all that other shit. And for instance, let's just say, for instance, Jesus went against that law, and then of course the Catholic or whatever, the Jesuits or whatever y'all want to call them motherfuckers, the Roman motherfuckers, these the same government that's running your government today. Feel me? They initiated. He had Jesus had his own idea of doing things. He wasn't with the shit that they were telling him. They hung him up on the cross or whatever you say. Feel me? But the whole point of what I'm explaining to y'all is everybody got their own individualistic way of doing things. Everybody got their own way of going about things. Feel me? And we are all spirits and bodies. Don't get that fucked up. Jesus was a spirit in the body. Jesus is probably in a whole other world right now. He's not coming back to save your ass. You came in this world alone. You're leaving alone. Understand and understand that shit. Stop getting too left brain. Stop getting too logical with this shit. Feel me? When we talking this shit, we talking esoteric. We talking spirituality. We talking our genesis. We talking our own idea, our own shape and form, our own reference. Feel me? The spirit, which is your subconscious, which is the frequency, which is your space, which is your unconsciousness, being unconsciously aware of things. Yeah, it's possibilities for you to actually see your spirit and your genesis, to align your spirit and your soul together. Basically, a lot of people say this is bullshit, but I've experienced this shit many times. Feel me? And the real world is within you, inside of you. This shit that you see outside of you is your bitch. This magic wand right here is your bitch. Every man has a moon inside of them, feelings and emotions. That's a bitch. A bitch overall is basically dealing with a witch, which is witchcraft. Now, when we talk about males, that's masculine. That's wizard. Feel me? But at the end of the day, a male got a witch in them, because that's feelings and emotions. That's the internal. That's the waters. Feel me? That's the moon. That's the macabre. Feel me? That's the mother. That's the pussy. That's the hoe. Feel me? But I'm not saying you have a pussy, but I'm saying you have feelings and emotions. We all got feelings and emotions. Let's not get that fucked up. Feel me? So, the whole disclaimer shit, have several seats. And listen, if you don't have an imagination, if you don't want to bring shit into existence, remember, because on here, this magic wand is powerful. It holds crystals, gemstones, and it traps energy. So, of course, make sure when you do use this, you put pure intent to this shit. You talk to this shit. Just like how you talk to your hands, just like how you talk to yourself, utilize this as your bitch. Communicate with it. Talk to it. Interact with it. Feel me? Don't add too much feelings and emotions. Don't get deeply rooted or attached to it. You know that you're using this shit and don't get attached to it. Feel me? Because the moment you get attached to it, the moment you start picking up paradigms and shit, and basically you create a ghost. So this is your ghost right here. Feel me? We all creating ghosts every day. A ghost is just a soul representation of what you see through the physical representations. That's the whole purpose of not getting lost into the physical, because once you get lost into this physical, these fleshly fluids, once the only thing you remember was this shit, you're going to come back here. That's like having a car, and you're driving the car, and you're getting too physically attached to the car because you had too much love for the car. This was your first car. You didn't know how to get rid of the car. You didn't want to leave the car. Feel me? Of course, a catastrophic event can happen. Your ass might get into an accident in that car. Your ass can die. Now, the next person that basically either get the parts from that car or just drive that car if it's still in good condition, now you're going to be hurting them, because they're going to be like, why the fuck is you in my car? Why are you driving my car? So now you putting all that residue on the next person that's basically driving that car that they own now, that you owned previously. So that's the whole purpose of not being the ghost of getting lost into the motherfucking physical. But yeah, now take this into consideration. When was people always pointing to shit like television, phones, and all other shit. But have you ever took the time to point that shit to make shit work into your favors? Do you go outside? Do you point to the sky? Do you point to the moon? Do you point to the sun? Do you do that shit? Do you? You got to question these things. Because remember, this shit is here for you. The whole purpose of you getting lost into society and all these programs, they did this shit that I'm telling you about, and they using your power, whatever you supposed to be manifesting for, then they got you working, doing this, doing that, and getting lost into so many paradigms and shit, to the point where it's like, damn, you're not doing no kind of spiritual work. You're not into astrology, you're not into shit. You would rather worship your birthday and shit, have a piece of cake, sit down, do a gathering, shake ass, pop bottles, fucking suck. But you're not utilizing the energies for what you want to bring into existence. Because we all got the power. Our spirit knew what it was doing when it created the body. So it ain't make no mistakes in none of that shit. So now, when it's time to come down here into existence and basically do shit, what are we gonna do? We're gonna continue to basically get too lost into shit that we don't want to do for the rest of our life, or we're gonna basically initiate and create and start basically putting in some intention work, some self work. Start talking to your hands. Start psyching yourself up. Start psyching your mind up. Feel me? And when you use your magic mind, which is your hands or whatever you want to use, whether you use this, your hands, or whether you use a pencil or magic stick, you can program anything. Feel me? Everything is energy. Feel me? And in order for you to initiate and create, your energy gotta come together and create another energy to create a birth. That's when you got a female and you got a male. What happens when two energies come together? Boom, harmonious. Boom, push out. Boom, a child is born. Now, you can take this into consideration whether you want a person to be born, a place, which is a house, a home, security, a structure, a business, or creations, money, possessions, whatever you want to manifest for, basically. So every time you grab this shit, you having sex with this shit. Now, depending on where your mind state is at, depending on what you want to use this shit for, depending on what you want to bring into existence for yourself, that's got to be the pure intent on your mind. That's what you got to basically be pushing out on a day-to-day basis. Because once you get into laws into society and you're not acting out on the natures, then things is not going to go into your favor. So, of course, for instance, Monday will be a day you utilize this shit for whatever you want to utilize it for, as for moon purposes. So, for instance, if the moon, the moon going to be in Taurus on Monday. So, basically, a good way to use this shit on Monday will go outside. You go outside. You point this shit at jewelry stores, because that's dealing with materialistic natures. That's dealing with Venus. That's dealing with love, beauty, passion, desires, and shit. That's dealing with all kind of things that's dealing with, like, food, anything like that. Well, like a business or anything. What you would do, you would go to the jewelry store, you would point this shit at the jewelry store, and you would utilize, you have on your mind what you want to, why you're pointing this shit at it. Don't forget about what you're looking at. Have on your mind what you want to use this shit for. Feel me? Now, when we get into Thursday, that would basically, the moon will basically shift into Gemini. So that's thinking the communication in Mercury. So you would utilize this shit for what you want to utilize it for. And that would be a good way to, like, that's thinking the communication. So come in contact with people. You can point this shit at people, for me. You just do this shit to them. But have on your mind what you want to be manifesting. Because remember, energy brings manifestations. Listen, attention goes where energy flows. So if people paying you attention and you're pointing this shit at them, have on your mind, it feels good to have $1 million. Say some shit like that. Like, psych your mind up. Because people is paying attention to you. So whatever you're utilizing this shit for, whoever you pointing this shit at, they attention, they mind is going to basically be going towards there. That's exactly what the fuck is going to be happening. So imagine you just go somewhere like in Manhattan or some shit. You just pointing this shit at everybody and just going crazy and shit. Feel me? And of course, you're going to get a whole lot of attention. Feel me? And whatever you do with that attention is what you want to do it for. Whether you want to buy a house, own a business, buy a car, buy a mansion, get a girl, or do whatever you want to do. Feel me? Listen, the magic is within you. Stop letting motherfuckers outside of you tell you what you can't do, what you cannot do. Stop listening to these motherfuckers. Because they not doing shit. They not doing nothing for you. They ain't doing shit for themselves. And if they ain't telling you this shit, like how I'm telling you this shit, you need to stay away from them motherfuckers. Because they ain't going to do nothing but just basically bring you down. Feel me? Point this shit at them. Feel me? Because if they ain't doing shit with them, like with their life, take their energy and just put that shit right in there. Simple. Feel me? Now take that shit into consideration though. Feel me? Because you can do whatever you want to do. As far as with your magic, with your goals, and what you want to manifest for. Write it down on paper. Point the shit at your paper. Point the shit at the sun, the moon. Feel me? Have on your mind what you want to manifest. Feel me? The sun brings expression, physical reactions, energy, vitality and shit. The moon, your mother, brings you manifestation, gold, possessions, what you want to manifest, home, security, a house. So, if you're not utilizing these energies and you're not doing shit with yourself, this video ain't for you. But if you really want to get in your spiritual natures and get in your spiritual work, this video is for you. Feel me? So all y'all weak ass motherfuckers that don't want to do nothing, you're lost. Feel me? Don't get too logical, because remember, you still got this shit, the right brain, which is a piece of your yin realm, and this is just the logic. Feel me? The yin is your inner world, your thinking, your communication, your imagination, creativity. Feel me? Which is just imagination, creativity, and belief. So it's up to y'all, motherfuckers. And if you really ready to take it to the next step, hit me up.